Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Henry, your favorite data engineer. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to create aliases. We're going to learn how to create aliases using SQL. Then we move on to learning how to do same alias using PySpark. And then we move on to doing the same thing using SparkSQL. Now let's begin. What are aliases? Aliases are simply in data engineering, we have databases or tables that are created using softwares and other data sources. But aliases help us to make meaning out of the column names, right? So we rename the column names into names that are easily understandable by business individuals or by analysts. That is what we call aliases. We rename them, but they are not permanently done. They are just temporary names that are given to table columns in order for us to interpret the data and help data analysts engage with their analytics. But aliases are done to help get the end product, that is create dashboards and so on. In this video, we're going to learn how to create that using SQL, PySpark, and SparkSQL. Let's move right in and start with SQL. To begin with, let's take a look at our data sets that we'll be using for this particular tutorial. Let's go to our table and take a look at this table. Let's start the compute resource, which is serverless. Let's look at the columns. So we have this table, which we call stores data, right? Which is coming from the Databricks free edition. Provides its own data sets which we can use for this tutorial. So these are generated by Databricks itself. So we have columns such as SS sales date, sold time, item, and so on. In this video, we're going to look at only creating aliases for 4 columns. We're going to change the names of 4 columns to names that are much understandable and much easier to interpret to non-technical individuals. So let's move it. So this is the data set that we'll be using. We already know how to call tables, which is 3 namespace by Databricks. So let's begin with SQL. Let's create our SQL editor and name this alias underscore SQL. Right. Now let's call the table and take a look at the columns that we'll be using for that. So we bring our select from the same, we go back to the table. We can copy the table name this way and then go back to our editor, paste. Then we can take a look at the top columns first using star. We run it and look at the output. We wait for the engine to run, the SQL serverless engine to run. Yes, and then this is the data set. So with this, we're just going to take the first 4 columns, which is this, that, this, and this, right? We already have the names. All we do is just call them up. SS underscore sold date SK. Sold underscore date. So there's it, comma. Then we have SS sold time SK. SS underscore sold time underscore SK, comma. And we have SS item SK. SS underscore item SK, comma. And the final one being SS customer SK. SS underscore customer SK. At the end, we do not bring any comma because this is SQL. The last column that we call, we leave it that way. So we then run this engine and then call only these 4 columns. Now this is the data set that we have here. We can see it beneath this way, just this 4. Now let's rename these columns and rename this from SS sold date SK to just sold date. So to do that, that is what we call aliases. And these are temporary names that we give that do not change the underlying table names The original table names in here are not changed, but we use them as temporary names that can be used to interpret data in for business analytics and so on. So to do alias, you begin with as, you name this as sold underscore it. We come to this time now, we also create as sold underscore time. I think the suggestions that Databricks is giving, that is being done by its AI engine called Genie. We name this as item, and we name this as custom. Now let's run this and take a look at the name changes. Now you can see these names, the column name, the original column names that we had are being changed to sold name, sold time, and item, and custom. This becomes much more understandable and much more easier to interpret and use for your BI, business analytics dashboards and so on. That is it for SQL. You enjoyed it, right? So this is pretty easy. Let's move on to PySpark. To do that, let's use a notebook. Let's go to create a notebook, and we call it Alias PySpark. Just as we do, we need to import the models, Python models, from the SQL models for PySpark into our notebook. So to do that, you do from PySpark.sql.functions import every function this way. Now, since we've imported our model, we now create a variable and assign the table name to this. So to do this, we call this sales equal spark dot read dot table open bracket inverted commas, then we paste the table name this way. Now we've created a variable and assigned this table name to this sales data frame, right? We can choose to run the data frame. Sorry, I think there's a typo here. SQL. And choose to run the data frame. This should create a data frame for us. Whilst that is done, going on, we could create another to the next. Yes, this data frame is done, so we could see this. Now let's create another variable, and great, now we have run this and created our data frame, right? We have this data frame ready. Now let's call the columns that we want to apply the aliases on, or to change their names. So to do this, you create a new data frame, which we'll name this sales data equal, let's call from this previous data frame that we created, sales dot select open bracket, enter to the next line. Then we call from this sales data frame dot, the first name that we have from the table is ss sold date sk, right? So ss underscore sold date sk, right? The second column is sales dot ss underscore time sold time sk, sold time sk, comma. We also have sales dot ss underscore item underscore sa, comma, and the final one is sales dot ss underscore customer underscore sk. Great. Now we have this data frame. This is where we are going to apply the aliases. And to do this in PySpark, there's a model, or there's a function in PySpark called Alias. So you call that model and make use of it, that function. So dot alias. The reason why we do not import any new model in here is because we already imported all SQL functions that are in PySpark. We've already imported them, so we already can make use of them. So with this, we call it sold underscore date, and with this dot alias bracket open sold time, the next one dot alias bracket open item, the final one dot alias bracket open custom. Great. So we have this, apply these aliases by renaming this column from this to that. Right. Now we can run this and then create a new data frame. A new data frame has been created. So we can see already the columns have already been renamed using the data frame. Let's just take a look at the actual data set from the table. So to do that, you use the display function in PySpark. Display bracket. Now the data frame name is sales data. As you can see, sales underscore data. Let's run it. Take a look. The engine is running serverless, so it's going to read from the table and apply the aliases that we did. Great. So we can see the columns have been renamed. This is now sold date, sold time, item, customer. Great. So this is PySpark for you. Great. Nice. Let's move on to SparkSQL, which is similar to using PySpark, which you use the Spark engine, but modeled in SQL to run the function or the code. Let's move. We create a new notebook, right? Then we rename this notebook to Spark SQL Alias. Great. With this, also, we're going to import the Spark function, right? So to do that, from PySpark dot SQL dot function functions import all. Right now, in this case also, we create a data frame, but this time around the data frame will be created by using SQL to read it. Right, we use SQL to read from the table, and that should be it. So to do that, we just created a data frame called sales equal Spark dot SQL bracket open this way, enter, and then we can create our inverted commas this way. 3, right? You can see 3 on each side, and then you click enter. Within it, that is where we will create our SQL functions. Within it this way. So we then write the same SQL function that we did. Select from the table, right? Now we have, you can see the indentation that we're creating. This helps your code to be easily read and understood and maintained. SS underscore sold date underscore SK. Because we've written before, that is how come the engine, the Genie engine, is suggesting it to us already. Right. We have this first one. Now SS underscore The second column is sold time, sold underscore time underscore SK, comma. Then we have SS item underscore SK, comma. The last one, SS underscore customer underscore SK. Just as we did in SQL, we're also going to rename this into the preferred name that we spoke about. That is the alias we're talking about. So to do this the same way we did in SQL, we do the same thing here. As sold underscore date. And we come here to as sold underscore time. And we come here as item. Here we change it to as customer. Right, so we have this query, this code this way, and this is Spark SQL. We're using the Spark engine to run a SQL function, right? Great. And we can create this data frame now. Whilst that is running, we can run our code to display what we just wrote over here. So we can use display to bracket sales display. Yes, so let's read the data. Great, you can see the columns have been renamed. It just has the same function, the same as we did in Spark, PySpark. Great, I hope you enjoyed today's video. You learned something new, how to apply aliases in using SQL, then PySpark and SparkSQL. Thank you for joining. See you in my next video. Bye bye.